But now we're going to keep talking about business strategies and frameworks. And with me is our next guest. Thanks very much for joining us here at the VUCA stage. So we have with us Howard Sublett, who is the Chief Product Owner of Scrum Alliance, which is another non-profit organization that encourages people and companies to work in a more agile way.
Absolutely.
Thanks
for having me.
Let's just start off. Great to have you here. Let's just start off with that definition of what agile means to you.
Wow. Just start with a small thing, Maddie. Just a little thing. To me, at its heart, agility is about the ability to work in small cross-functional teams and deliver iteratively and incrementally to a customer quickly. It's about work that is pulled to the team, that the team gets to decide what it is that they want to work on, not necessarily waiting for a manager to tell them what to do. It's a way to work that we truly believe brings joyful, prosperous, and sustainable workplaces in the world.
Great summary. And Scrum is the framework through which this happens. Now, for anyone that hasn't heard of Scrum, they might be thinking, rugby, sports teams?
Yeah.
And that's actually the case.
Yeah, it truly is. So this started many, many years before the signing of the Agile Manifesto, is this idea of the Scrum within rugby is a group of people that are and actually, I'm not a rugby fan, so I don't know much about rugby. But if you look at the Scrum in rugby, there is no one leading. There is no one manager. There's no one telling them what to do. But they're working together towards a goal without any direction. And it's about self-organization, and it's about teamwork. And so that became kind of a visual metaphor for what would it look like if we put cross-functional people together to solve complex problems instead of working in a very traditional, our Taylorisms in traditional waterfall ways has us work in, well, we're going to do a design phase, and then we're going to do an engineering phase, and then we're going to do a testing phase, and then we're 2 years down the road, and we finally let a customer see the product, and it's the wrong product. So what if we put a cross-functional team together that included engineering, design, architect, all of the pieces necessary to let a customer see it by Friday? What could they show them by Friday and validate the work and inspect and adapt from there?
So you're going directly into businesses. How is this working?
Well, I mean, this is a VUCA world. I mean, you just probably heard the previous person talk about the changes that are happening in the world. The world of business is moving at a faster pace than we've ever seen it before, and it's only going to get faster. Companies can't do a 7-year plan or an 8-year plan into the future and expect it to be a reality. The only strategy that they can have is find ways to build these kind of teams and empower them to chase vision, to chase a goal, and to try things. If you think about back in the day when we used to think about a product getting out the door, the cost of failure was high. It was really expensive to be wrong. And now I can take a team of 5 to 7 people, and within a week, I can get something a customer can touch. I can have 5 teams do 5 things that customers can touch. The cost of failure is cheaper right now than it's ever been, and it's only going to get less expensive. The way we learn to work together and empower them. So yes, businesses are adopting this at a rapid rate. We've got a little over 1.3 million members around the world right now, and growing at an astronomical rate, yes.
So for people listening that are thinking, this could work for me, how do you persuade your manager that this isn't just another HR fad?
It's actually, it's funny that the people that think this is just an HR fad, I would invite them to go find a new place to work. Because companies of the future can't behave the way that they behaved in the past. It's just not possible. Centuries ago, if I was a blacksmith, my son would be a blacksmith, and his son would be a blacksmith, and we'd all use the same tools. The plans we have today will change tomorrow. The moment on a podcast that Bezos and Warren Buffett mentioned something about Amazon maybe getting into healthcare, what was it, $40 billion was lost in the stock market in the moment. You have to be agile as a company. You have to be able to inspect and adapt to be able to survive. You can't plan it ahead of time. There's no way for you to know what's to come in the future. The only thing you can do is build an organizational system that's sustainably agile to be able to answer what's happening and be responding to the market.
So what examples can you give us, either of specific businesses or industries that are better at being agile?
Let me give you one you probably wouldn't expect me to give.
Good.
As a nonprofit, we fund a lot of things, and one of my favorite things that we fund is schools, is education. So there is a school in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm from the States, that is a school of last resort for kids. These are high school kids that have either gotten pregnant, been arrested for drugs, or had some other disciplinary issue that they've kicked them out of a traditional high school. This school had a 0% fail rate.
Wow.
I mean, a 0% pass rate. This is a school of last resort. We help fund training for all of the teachers and all of the students to learn in a team-based environment. So instead of a teacher talking to a group of 30 people and teaching to the bottom of the classroom, groups of 5 or 6 are having to self-organize and come to the teacher and say, we would like to learn this today, and we think we can prove proficient in this by Friday, and they have to work together. Now they're running an 80% pass rate for kids that have been in jail.
From 0 to 80%.
They're running an 80% in pass rate, and they're sending their very first students to the university. The exponential rate of learning, and not just learning, but kids learning team-based environments and interpersonal skills and everything else. It's worked this way in manufacturing. It's worked this way in technology. We were kind of born out of the software industry, but we're finding so much adoption in everything else that I can't imagine. Manufacturing of automobiles. It's crazy the way that when you put teams together, what they can solve if you just give them enough room to try what they need to try.
So teams and the way they're structured clearly playing a massive role in this, but can you recruit for people with agile values?
There is definitely a difference, right? People that are what we call I-shaped skills versus T-shaped skills. People that are very, very deep in one skill set and they're not willing to share with others don't usually play well in a team-based environment. So you're looking for people that are team players. They may have deep technology or deep skill set in one thing, but they're also able to be field players in other things. So some of that can be learned, but others of it is just more natural for some people. So you do find people that gravitate towards more team-based work because I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. Because the work of a team, if we're in a group of 5 to 7, my work is transparent with everybody in my team. I make a commitment every day. This is what I think I can get done, and it's up on a wall. If I'm used to being in a company with 300,000 or 400,000 people, and I can hide at a cubicle all day long and never really accomplish anything of value, and I like it, this is not your kind of environment. But people that actually want to be engaged to make a difference, that actually want to have a stake in the product that they're building and actually talk to the customers, and they love that adventure. So there's a little bit of a different mindset for them.
Yeah.
A lot of the younger generation love it. Some of the older ones struggle with it.
Yeah, how can we shift some of those older employees that are just sitting in the back knowing they're going to get their paycheck, especially here in the Nordics where it's very hard to get fired?
Yes. The shift for most of them that have been there a while is this understanding that their role, if they're a manager, is now the role of a leader. So their roles, they're not managing people anymore because people become self-organizing. They now are pulling work to themselves. Their job isn't to push work to people. Their job becomes a leadership role in creating an environment where people can survive and thrive. So they become proactive. So like even in my role, I'm the product owner for our organization, but my role actually, if you look at the organizational chart, is at the bottom. My role isn't at the top. Most companies would call me a CEO, but I'm at the bottom because I consider myself a servant leader to the teams that are actually delivering value. My job is to help empower them, to help point them in the right direction, to help give them the tools that they need to do their job. So people that have been doing this work a long time, if they'll get that mindset shift, it is the most fascinating way to work.
Yeah. and a real achievement if people can manage to shift those teams with the older mindsets. Really interesting to hear some of your insights. Let's give it up for Howard Sublett.
Thank you.
Thank you